All right, this is I Connect Athletes. We back at it again. We got Coach Trey and also Coach Bruce from BJ3 Sports and Fitness, and we're back at it again. And our topic of the day today um, is why coach and why play. Um, and that's a major question. I think it is, and I think we want to tap into that and just try to get some information on that and see what we come out of that. The first question, Coach Trey and Coach Bruce, um, uh, why did you coach? Why did you coach? Why did you start coaching, Coach Trey?
Yeah, I really started coaching because I did not. So I, so my real reason was because there was a void. There was a void for me. Um, I loved the game. Didn't get a chance to really. Well, I shouldn't say didn't get a chance. I didn't take the opportunity that I had
Mm,
to play the game at the next level seriously enough. And because of that, I kind of resented not being or not playing at the next level. So I wanted, because I had such a passion for the game, I wanted to give the information that I was able to obtain and learn over those years. I wanted to give that back to help kids and people not have the same experience I did. In other words, not to, as I used to tell kids in practice, James, don't spill the milk. I,
mm,
sometimes we take for granted opportunities that we have because we think it'll come around again or you got another chance. And I just, so I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna give all my time into being able to put back into
yeah,
somebody else so they don't go down that same path and not be able to maximize their potential.
yes, sir. That's good, Coach Bruce.
Well, that's a very interesting question. Because my first coaching position was in Parks and Rec, DC Parks and Rec, and the main reason why I started coaching is because, like Coach Trey said, it kind of was the natural progression of things. I played the game before, and I thought, well, why not coach? And at the time, I was trying to build a rapport with kids and change lives. So, what better way to connect the two than to coach the kids, the same kids that I was working with on the playground, and also be able to mentor them through the game of basketball. So that was my reason to build a rapport, build a relationship, but also to stay around the game that I played and the game that I love. So it was the best of both worlds.
That's good. That's good,
Yeah.
Coach Trey. When you said don't spill the milk, and you speak of that in terms of how you reference that to your players and how you what does that mean? Because I remember when that first came about, and I think we
Yeah.
were coaching at Friendship Tech
Yeah.
Prep High School.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
mantra in many ways. I mean,
Yep.
that's when the kids knew. All right. So what did that mean? Get
Yeah. So what it meant was is so we all have a God given talent. We all have a God given talent, some way, form, or fashion. And so I try to use the analogy of milk in terms of the value of a gallon of milk for people who don't have, I mean, even people who have. When you go to the grocery store and you see how much it costs for a gallon of milk, it's not cheap.
right.
So I wanted them to be
Mm.
able to get the understanding that, okay, don't waste our time or your time doing things that aren't productive. When you come in, give everything you got instead of spilling the milk. So you devalue
Wow.
your worth when you're in a setting that is designed to impart wisdom and knowledge and information to you. But instead of you being receptive and a sponge to receive it, you just falter it. You devalue it. You don't really see the value of what is being given to you. And so that's why I said, don't spill the milk, because for somebody to spill milk that's very valuable because of the value associated with it is just like, to me, you just not taking advantage of the opportunities that you put in. That's what I really meant.
Yeah. Okay. Got you.
Right.
And Coach Bruce, now you played at the highest level. You went from one of the best players in the DMV at your time. At that time, when AAU was in many ways real AAU, it was exclusive. You played on one of the top programs in the country. Also moved and played at the high level as far as Division I basketball, and also overseas professionally. When Coach Trey speaks of spilling the milk, can you equate that to your playing career? And can you give us an example of what it took to play at that next level, from that perspective of that you? I mean, because my experience when I was watching you, you never wasted much time in reference to you didn't.
Right.
Everything you did, is really what I watch my players, and what I'm saying, because of what I saw you do in many ways. One example, we had a weight room in the basement. You were down there every day with our father. On your own though,
right?
You would run from this location to that location and back on your own. You didn't have a trainer at that time. You were self-sufficient in reference to what you did. So can you talk about that spilled milk?
Well, it's funny you brought that story up. As far as Dad really, give me the opportunity to lift weights, but I didn't wait on him. And the whole analogy of spilling the milk. Back then, if you wasted any time or wasted any energy or any knowledge that you were given, you would get embarrassed on the basketball court. So you didn't have, and a lot of people say they didn't have trainers back then, but they did have trainers. They had trainers, not to this extent. Let's just clear that up. There were trainers, because me and another gentleman named Eric Brandon, we used to train down at the YMCA twice a day. And we also had a trainer named Reginald Kitchen, one of the best trainers in the DMV. Used to train Dennis Scott.
Yeah.
So let's clear that up from the jump. There were some trainers.
Yes, sir.
But the difference is, wasn't nobody giving you no ride to your trainer. Nobody was spoon feeding you. You had to get it on your own.
Right.
And like you said, running to the court, running back, with the basketball and the conditioning, like we ate and slept the game of basketball. So when you talk about spilling the milk, we ain't had time to spill no milk.
Right.
You spill the milk and you get on the court with people like Elton Brand, Steve Francis, Jason Muscari, Steve Francis. Them guys are going to embarrass you.
Right.
And shake your hand. Shake your hand as soon as the game is over with.
Yeah.
So it was a doggy dog world back then, man. You had a lot of good basketball players. And the DMV was treacherous on the court back then. You had to really bring it. So every chance that you got, if you weren't in school, you were at the court, whether it be indoor, outdoor. Outdoor was the place to be. We was going from Turkey Thicket, from Riggs LaSalle, from Emory to we was all over the city because we wanted that bump. We had to get that bump in. So as far as that spilling milk, nobody was spilling milk back then.
That's good.
There was no spilling milk back then.
That's good. Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good. Well, that leads me into this next question that we got. What's your purpose in reference to coaching? What's your purpose? What's your ultimate goal? Why do you do it? Why did you start doing it?
Yeah.
And for me, it was when I first started. My purpose at the very beginning was to win. and was to win games, and I think that was solely it. I always wanted to coach ever since, you know, I believe didn't even realize it really in middle school, and also high school. Um, but the purpose shifted. Now I don't know if it shifted for you, but we all are Christian men, and it shifted when I started coaching AAU at
Hmm.
the very beginning, about 20 years ago. Uh, I believe God said He shifted my perspective in reference to the goal of it and the assignment, the reason why He put me there. It wasn't to win games or championships and things like that. It was really
Right.
in souls for Christ. It really was, and
There it is.
that was what we were. That was the foundation. I believe that's the reason why we're successful today, is
There
because
it is.
the foundation
Right.
started
Yeah.
on Christ,
Yeah.
and it grew from praying before and
Right.
praying after,
Right.
and exposing our athletes to um, just not really beating them over the head with but I remember we would go to games and all we would do. I remember one tournament play. We were in Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing hit me. We lost the first. I don't know if we lost the first game. I think we lost the first game when we got there, and that thing hit me, and I said we're shutting down. I don't know if I did it before or after we lost the first game, but I said everyone needs to, and I felt a spirit in reference to it was pretty heavy in reference to um, the culture at that time was real negative on that trip. And
Mm.
so I told every athlete, all my players to take, they couldn't listen to anything. It didn't have to be gospel, but they couldn't listen to nothing. So when we were on the bus on our driving to the game, we had two vans. They could they couldn't listen to their music, their earplugs. For the only time, if they were not going to listen to the music that I was playing in the car, um, they had to conversate and communicate with each other because all of them at the time had their earplugs and they were all zoned out. And I remember the players were telling their parents, "Man, coach making us listen to gospel." And parents were coming to me saying, "Come on, coach, they can't get hype over that. They can't get hype over gospel." I said, "Well, they sure enough can't get hype over what they listening to." And they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "You don't know what your sons are listening to?" And so the whole trip, on the ride to the game, on the ride back, Trey, after about the first time, we beat a team by 30 the next time.
Mm.
We were having praise and worship to and from. We had a game, the next game, Trey, and before we could get out to go to the game, out of the bus, out of the van, they said, "Hold on, coach, the song not over.
Mm.
Mm.
It ain't over." I'm talking about
Mm.
some thugs.
Mm. Sure.
It's not over, coach.
Right.
The song, that's our theme song right now, coach.
Mm-hmm.
We don't boom win, boom win, boom win. And at
That's
that
it.
time, I wasn't confident to do it.
Right. Right.
I wasn't bold enough to be like,
There you go.
what I was standing on. And for
Yeah.
that to happen, man, I'm telling you, things started to shift, perspective started to shift, and the relationships are from today. I mean, I got some players, Trey, that are following Christ that their families are not.
Mm-hmm.
They're,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
they,
Mm-hmm.
they're all
Absolutely.
Muslim or, what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they still standing. So
Yeah.
that was the purpose.
Absolutely.
That was the number one. And then as it went on, it was getting the kids to play at the next level. That was
Yeah.
up. What about you, Coach Trey?
Yeah. I mean, you make a clearly, that was a part of it as well. But because of the age gap between you and I, things of that nature, my original plan when I started coaching really was more so like, hey, listen, I love the game.
Yeah.
had that void. I wanted to get into it, and just wanted to share and give back to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I continued to grow, and certainly as we did what we did where we are now, then of course it was definitely about, bringing folks to Christ. We always said the
Right.
basketball was the hook
Yep.
to be able to bring them in and to build a relationship with Christ. And so clearly that has been what it's been all about, is really just trying to help people, transition and transform to that next life. You know what I mean? Just give them everything you can to be able to help them be better people, and Christians as well. Absolutely.
That's good. Coach Bruce.
So it's funny that this topic is coming up because there's a direct correlation between our kids having a relationship with Christ and the outcome of what basketball and what we taught them brought them to where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at most of the basketball players that played with me or played with you, Trey, or played with any era before this era right here, there's a direct correlation of how successful they are in life and who they connect their success with.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, you have so many guys right now that are connected to Christ, and they it's because of experience.
Right.
Whether it be they couldn't finish playing basketball because of family, or somebody died, or somebody in the community was killed, or anything like that. Life somehow, for some reason, brings you right back around to what we just finished talking about, bringing kids to Christ.
That's good. Yep.
And it's amazing because the conversations I'm able to have with guys that I play with now are totally different than the conversations we were having when we were and our conversations are like, yo, remember we were doing this and doing that, and now that you have jobs and families, now you're
Yes,
starting
sir.
to connect the dots.
Yep. That's good.
So all the things that we were teaching with iConnect and District All Stars
Yep.
is coming back around full circle.
Absolutely.
That's why it was so key when we were talking about bringing kids to Christ, and it's still relevant.
All day
I
long.
remember I remember when I got serious about Christ when I was in college about my senior year, and I told God, I said, look, and let's keep it 100. We haven't always been, on the up and up when it comes to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
I said, you know what? I want to have the best senior year. And it sounds funny, but I wanted to have the best senior year ever. And I told God that I was going to leave everything else alone and focus on him,
Wow.
books, and basketball.
There it
And I
is.
led the nation. I led the nation in rebounding.
God Almighty.
I was first team all MEAC. I graduated,
There it
got a
is.
contract to play overseas. Like everything started to line up.
HOA.
Everything lined up. Everything lined up. Everything
Right.
lined up. So
That's
everything
good.
that we taught them and what we're teaching them now,
Yep.
it's amazing how it comes around full circle, man. Without that
Absolutely.
relationship, things just don't line up. They don't line up. There's
Yeah.
always going to be something missing.
And it's
Yeah.
crazy though, if you realize it and you think about it now that Coach Bruce brought that up. When we started District All Stars AAU basketball program, if you remember,
Yeah.
it started from the church.
Absolutely.
I was coaching the youth for the full gospel game
Right.
against the ministers and the
Yeah.
pastors.
Yep.
Our first team, I didn't know nothing about AAU. I didn't know what that was. Our first team, Chris Flegler, which was a youth at our church, um, told me, "Why don't you start an AAU team?" So what is AAU? Researched it that same night, I believe, or the next day. Researched that thing, found out what the team the first players came from that church team, that first church team. And now, and watch this. The kid that told me to start the AAU team. Chris Flegler
Yep. Yep.
is now. I just got off his Bible study
Look at
he was
God.
teaching on Instagram Live.
To God be the glory.
Come on
Good God Almighty.
Yep.
Come on.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what it's
Oh,
about right there, Doc.
okay. All right.
I'm trying to tell you.
That
At
that
the end of the day, that's what it's about.
yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yep.
Set.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Now let's go a little deeper. Um, how do I prepare my kids to play at the next level? How do we get them to play at the next level? What's the perspective?
Yep.
Because we got the purpose,
Mhm.
and I believe as young coaches, we don't have a purpose when we start in many ways in reference to a formulated purpose, and then we don't know. We just jumping in coaching. We don't have a plan for them in reference to, okay, let's see how we can get them to play at the next, or how can I teach them to play at the next level?
Mhm.
How do I prepare them? How do I prepare my kids to play at the next level? When I mean the next level, if I'm in high school, how do I get them to play at the next level in college? And then if I'm in the college ranks, how can I prepare them to get to the next level professionally if that is their goal?
Mhm.
Oh, Trey, what you got?
Well, I tell you, I go on these principles that Bishop, our pastor, has taught on, and that's teach,
Mm-hmm.
train, track,
Ooh, yeah.
trust, and transform. And just to give you a little real snippet, teach,
Uh-huh.
it's all fundamentals. You got to teach
Yep.
fundamentals, developing skill sets. Train, you got to train physically, you got to train mentally, you
Mm-hmm.
got to educate them regarding the terminology of the
Yep.
game so they can understand when they increase from one level to the next, they understand what certain terminology is. Track is all about performance, being able to track their performance, their evaluation. How are they performing? Are they learning? Are they getting better? Um, Trust, you have to be credible. The information that you're giving to these kids is going to be tested. They want to make sure that what you're teaching them is credible and they buy into what you're teaching
That's good.
them, along with the parents. And then lastly is transform. It's all about watching them develop from an early age and them to continue to nurture and grow and develop as they end up increasing their skill set from one level to the next. And if you do that early enough and you put them in the right environments, in mainstream competition based on where they are, and you keep progressing them as they grow, hey, anything's possible. But that's what I see.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Coach Bruce?
I think the biggest thing, and of course, when you ask that question, you kind of have to dissect it on what age you're talking about or what level you're trying to take them to the next. It could be middle school to high school to college, college to
Mm-hmm.
pros. But the common denominator when it comes to taking kids to the next level is the mentality. Um, if you look at The Last Dance, everybody's been watching that. It's not so much that he had great footwork or he had talent, but it was his mentality, the way he approached the game, how he prepared his mind before games and practices start. So that's the biggest thing I think that you have to focus on when you're trying to prepare a kid to play the next level is how do you approach the game mentally? How do you train, like Coach Trey said? Do you prepare your body? Are you going over film before the game starts? Like these are all the little things that prepare you to play at the next level. Because when you go to the next level, the biggest thing is attention to detail.
Okay.
And can you be a student of the game?
There you go.
The little things they teach about creating space and timing, all of those things come from your mentality and how you approach and you learn and study the game. So if you're mentally strong and tough to go through the training and the process, because there's going to be ups and downs
Mm-hmm.
through your whole career, whether it be professional, college, middle school, it's going to be injuries, it's going to be family situations, it's going to be academic ups and downs. But if you're strong mentally, and of course, if you have the talent and all the tools to go with it, and like Coach Trey said, you have to be in the right environments and you have to have the right exposure. The mentality is the biggest thing that you have to teach when it comes to preparing kids to go to the next level. Are you mentally tough? Are you able to handle the attention to detail? And can you take the information the coach or the trainer is giving you, and can you apply it right away?
Yep.
That's what's going to take you to the next level. Coaches and trainers, when it comes to going to the next level, they're not going to tell you 2 or 3 or 4 times what the directions are in the coaching, in the practice, in the training session. You got to be able to hear it and execute it. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about mentality, attention to detail,
Yep.
execution, getting through those long days of conditioning, and
Mm.
when you're playing overseas, 2 a days and practices and flying and all the different. Your body is tired. Your mentality still has to be intact. So I would say that you're preparing kids to mentally handle the rigors of playing basketball for the long haul.
Right.
Got Uh, let me. This is a spinoff to that, Coach Bruce. What was? What did you? What propelled you as you were playing in high school to get the D1 scholarship? What propelled you to? What were some of the things in that got you the look at the D1 level?
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, and what did you
Yeah,
did you do? I mean, what were some of the? Was it your stats? Was it what was it?
it was the all. I think it was the all season. It
Okay.
was the all season. I mean, like I said, we were training twice a day, and we were playing like twice a day, every day. And with that, it brought up it brought up of a certain type of confidence when you came in the gym. When you knew you put that work in
Oh, that's good.
on a daily basis
Mm-hmm.
with the guys from the top of the top of the food chain, and you were going back and forth with these guys in the all season. When it came to the season, it wasn't difficult
Right.
because you put your body and you put yourself through so much rigorous training that when it came to playing and practice and playing against guys who weren't training like that, then you had a certain mentality. Now, there's certain things that you just cannot teach.
Okay.
We talk about being a dog all the time and having that heart. You can train
Yeah.
all you want, but if you don't have that, when it's time to step on the court, that's why you got guys who train all summer, but they still can't apply it when it comes to the game time.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to call those practice players.
Uh huh.
They'd be all Americans in practice, but when it's time to throw the ball up and the referees come out, they can't produce.
Right.
So, a lot of it is, like I said, it's the mentality, the way you carry yourself, and you got to believe that you're the best thing on the court every time you step on the court.
Yeah.
So I would say it's the all season. The all season just produces a certain kind of basketball player, man.
That's good.
The season starts in the summer.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Very true.
Oh, there's no off season. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
That
No, there's never all season.
no.
Now, a lot of professional trainers, guys who work on player development, they tell you that after the season's over,
Mm-hmm.
to take 2 or 3 weeks off
You right?
and reevaluate what you need to work on. And you always need to pick 2 or 3 aspects of your game to focus on,
Okay.
not 5 or 6, because there's not a lot of time in between this one season and the next.
Right.
So whether it be explosiveness, ball handling, shooting, it takes a lot of work to improve on those. But if you're working on 5 to 8 different aspects of your game, one of those areas is not going to improve.
Right.
So pick 2 or 3 areas, maybe 2, 3 at the most, and every day Focus on those areas every day. Improve. Get those shots up. Game situations. So that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Coach Trey, from a player's perspective, what do you see? What he brought that piece up and spoke on it real well. From when you were coaching at Meade, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
What were some of the things that you were looking for to get your kids to the next level? I mean, what
So one of the things then is I really was about a certain style.
Okay.
We wanted to play 94 feet up tempo. We running on everything. In most cases.
Yes, you did.
And then there were times when we would have to be able to understand that we don't need to run the ball up no more. We up 10 with 2 minutes left in the half, with 2 minutes left in the game. So the clock is our friend. We don't have to keep running up and down, but we wanted to play a certain style. So my thing I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, keep going. I got something for
you. So my thing is we were looking to play a certain style. We wanted to create a lot of chaos. We wanted to play fast. We wanted to utilize our strengths, which was quickness, speed, and just try to create chaos for the other team. That was the way that we played. We didn't have any real bigs, so we were all pretty much the same size, guard size oriented. I don't know, you 6'2", 6'3", you still a guard. You don't get that level. You're a guard. You're everything guard.
That's good.
So we playing guard skill play. That's how we going at it.
You thought that then?
Back then.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Think now that you would think now that that's a new fad, but you thought that then.
Oh yeah. You still a guard. At the end of the day, you still a guard. 6'3", you still a guard.
Why did you think that?
Because
your perspective.
Yeah. So again, I played. I watched basketball. I watched it. I loved college. I loved professional, and I knew that at 6'3", in most cases, going to the next level, you still a guard.
Oh,
right.
You're still a guard. I don't care. I mean, you may be played out of position for the sake of coaches trying to, do what they want to do with the actual player, playing them out of position. But again, at the next level, you still a guard. So you have to.
Let me go. I'm sorry. If I'm 6'3", I'm the tallest on the squad. I'm a center, right?
No, not in my book.
Oh.
You're a basketball player.
Got you.
So my thing is I'm always about development. I don't care. You still got to be able to handle the ball. Yeah, okay. If you grow to be 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 6, 8, 7 feet, it would be good if you still had those guard skills to handle the ball, catch, put it on the floor, do what you need to do, because then that makes you even more dangerous at your level,
right,
at your size. So if you don't grow, but you still have those skill sets, then you're not at a disadvantage.
So what kind of offense did you run to complement that, Trey?
Huh?
What kind of offense did you run to complement that type of style?
Back then, we played a straight spread offense.
Okay.
Spread offense, everything was pick and screen. Now, it's interesting because now, as we are now, it wasn't as designed and structured based on the offense that we talk about now, 5 out. But back then, it was still a movement game.
Okay.
We would spread the ball, let one go. Hey, he get help, he kick, you get. I'm just saying it was the same thing. You beat your man off the dribble, help don't come, you get to the cup, layup. Somebody come help you, kick to the person where the butt man came from to help.
Right.
That was ball game.
And so that style that you played with, I believe it's till this today. Um, and this is for you, Coach Bruce or Coach Trey. Um, because when you brought up that I'm a basketball player,
Yeah.
um, does your style, when we talk about preparing for the next level, does your style promote help promote them to play at the next level?
Mm.
Is that for me or Coach Root?
And either one can jump in.
Well,
You saying
let me
should
just
it
say this.
should the style?
Should it and can? Um, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say yes. I think that if you're talking about preparing kids to play at the next level,
Mhm.
I think that your offense now, like Trey said, you have certain games where you just got to play a certain style to win the game. But overall, if you want kids to go to the next level, your style of play and your systems have to mimic what the next level is going to be.
That's good.
So if you're just coming down jacket, not passing the ball around, not getting a good shot, not making kids move without the ball, passing and cutting, rebounding, boxing out, then you're not preparing your kids for the next level.
Exactly.
All of these different things that they do on a Division 1 level, and that's the problem now. Kids, when they're talking about getting recruited to go to the next level, their coaches are not preparing them because it's a bring the ball down one shot.
Yeah.
So good.
And there's no
That is
conference in the United States of America for the most part that runs an offense where you just come down and take the first shot that you get.
right.
So your high school system has to mimic the college level, pass,
Yep.
cut. And
Yep.
now, like you said, everybody's got to be a basketball player now. You got to be able to face the basket. I don't care if you're 6'8", six
You
nine.
better be able
You got
to.
guards that are 6'8", 6'9" now.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Without a doubt.
everybody's got to be able to put the ball on the floor. Everybody's got to be able to rebound. Everybody's got to be able to pass. You got to be able to do the whole pack. You got to be able to have the whole package, man.
That's
Yep.
So
good.
yes, your offense has to mimic. Your system has to mimic the next level if
Yeah.
you're trying to prepare kids. And
Yeah.
like we talked about last time, that's a program.
That's
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A program prepares you for the next level,
Yeah.
not just to win a championship,
Yep.
but prepares you and your kids to be able to transition to the next level.
Yep.
Coach
Yep.
Trey, what does that look like if you don't? If I'm a player and I'm in a situation that has no system.
Yeah. So you look lost. In other words, you look like a fish out of water because
Mhm.
you're not able to adapt to the actual game because you just used to just standing. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you now become one dimensional. In this game where we are right now, we talk about three-dimensional, but you got to really be four-dimensional, five-dimensional. You got to be able to put the ball on the floor, shoot the ball. You got to be able to pass the ball. You got to be able to set good, solid screens. You got to be able to rebound the basketball. You got to be able to understand what's going on. You got to be able to cut. I'm saying, so you have to be able to do all of these things as it relates to the game. When you're able to demonstrate that
Right.
you have the ability to pass and cut, set solid screens, roll off the screen properly, when you have the ability to put them on the floor, when you have the ability to put it on the floor, pull up and shoot it, when you have the ability to put it on the floor and kick it, when you're under control, these kind of things, those are the things that coaches are looking at because that now puts them in a place where you're interchangeable.
Right.
Okay, I
Right.
can move you to maybe 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'm saying, depending on what your size is,
Right.
but you can move and do in those areas where you are interchangeable. The more interchangeable you are, the longer you stay on the floor.
Right.
The more valuable you are to that coach and that team because you have multiple skill sets.
Right.
And that's what you want. You want to have multiple skill sets,
That's good.
you know. And so again, at the end of the day, that's being a basketball player in today's day. I mean,
Yep.
That's what it's about. That ought to be the standard. Everybody got to be able to do this. If you particularly, and so that's the thing about offenses that you run. Some offenses require you to be able to do all those things I just described. And the more you're in that kind of system, the more you're going to be attracted or marketable to next level coaches. They see you in that system and see how you operate in that system. First thing they say, good God, he ain't necessarily got to play here. He can go over there. He don't have to go. He can go here. I can move him. So I'm just saying that's what you want.
That's good.
That's what you want.
That's good.
Market value. The more market value, more market value you have, the more valuable you are, the more essential you are. I mean, it's just that simple.
With what you said, does it draw? It sounds like what you said. It allows you to it allows you to support the team.
Absolutely.
And you're able to, with the system and the structure that you have created, it allows for everyone to grow.
Absolutely.
Everyone to learn. And you're not zoning in. You're not zoning in on one particular person.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. And it automatically says, as a team, that he's about us and not he's about them or that person.
Right.
And because it forces as a coach, you can agree with, it forces you to have to plan.
Yes.
Like really plan.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
To really teach and really know what you're teaching before you even hand it out.
Absolutely.
And I believe, because I believe that's why most coaches don't have systems. One, because they don't know, but then the two is because it's too much work.
Yeah, it's work. True. Yeah.
I don't want to teach everybody.
Hey, that's a part of the package.
The ones that already got the skill, and let's put that, you do what you do and you do what you do and you stand over there and you stand over there, rather than now we're going to teach everybody, and that expands the perspective of 1 through 12 has an opportunity to play at the next level. May not be Division 1,
right? Maybe
not be Division 2, it could be Division 3, could be JUCO, but everybody's in the pot in reference to opportunity to play at the next if they choose to.
Yep.
Because you are in a system of learning.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Next one. So that's a good shift. How do I create a practice plan? And we when we talk about systems, I don't think you can have a system without a plan.
Yeah, I agree.
And in advance prepare for what you're going to teach and what you're going to give. Coach Ray, can you give us a visual of how you would structure your practice plan?
Yeah.
And how does that connect long term in reference to the season?
Yeah. So let me just give you this. So a practice agenda should be developed to accomplish specific measurable goals, which incorporate individual and team concepts. Okay. Now this agenda should be timeline in 5 to 30-minute intervals with 30 and 60-second timeouts included in that timeline. The agenda should be flexible so that you can spend more time in areas that need it and less time in areas that don't. So, for example, when we develop practice agendas, we always start practice agendas with pregame.
Okay.
So what do you want to do in pregame? We flow from pregame right on into the transition stuff, skill set stuff, right from skill set stuff to offensive stuff, right from offensive stuff to full team thing. So you do individual stuff, go into the team aspect, offensive stuff. You even add into fast break lanes, transition. I mean, you can just do the whole 9 yards. You can run through offensive plays also in that actual timeline. And so again, that practice agenda opens up that way, and then it gets more specific if you want to break down guard with guard skill sets for 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and then your post players, so you can work on certain things you want to work on. If you want to work on
Right.
other items within that team wise defense against man to man sets, or offense against zone play, how you want to attack, with your offensive skill sets, out of bounds plays. You want to have all that in your practice agenda. And so as you go through again, that's kind of like towards season time. But in the very beginning, when you are structuring it to be able to maybe try to determine what your team's going to look like, who you're going to pick for trials, things of that nature. It's more skill set wise. Then you have a little time in for scrimmage, and you get up and down, take a look, evaluate the player, things of that nature. But once you have your team and you know what you have, then you can be more specific in terms of the things that you want to do as a team. And again, you want to start it from what I say, soup to nuts. So pregame to in game.
Gotcha.
And then you put those 30-second timeouts within those intervals. So you may go for the first 10 minutes, go hard, put a 30-second timeout in there. You can go another 15 minutes, put another 30-second timeout. You may go for one segment when you do something real hard for 5 or 6 minutes and you want a 60-second timeout. Give them a recovery period, because you want to implement 30 and 60 timeouts, because that's game time. That's what the time limit is on a game.
Right.
30 and 60. Ain't nothing longer than that except for halftime.
So your agenda is in many ways not just built for the coaches, but it's really built for the team. So the players can really, because it identifies on what they're going to have to do in a game.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
How it's structured.
That's right.
It's not.
That's
it's
right.
not laid on a sheet of paper, but it's like planned out the way you would play the game.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right.
And again, like I said, you can modify how you need to, where you need more area of attention in areas and things of that nature. That's how you want to do it.
That's good. That's good. Coach Bruce, I want to. Coach Trey gave us a layout. Can you give us a vision of why do I need a practice plan? I remember when you always would communicate to me when you coached in college, and what y'all had to have in, and or what you were given, and purpose of it. It wasn't just here's the practice plan or here's the game plan, but there was a purpose and a reason for it. Can you tell us that?
Yeah. So and Trey laid it out so well, but the biggest thing you have to focus on, and this is the biggest thing, is what time of the season is it in?
Right.
Is it is it mid season? Is it the end of the season? Is it the beginning of the season? Because that's going to tell you how you're going to lay out your practice plan.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that you want to make sure that you want to incorporate, and the reason why you have a practice plan, like you asked, is you want to always have structure, and you want to maximize the time that you have to practice. Yep. I mean, most times you don't have 5 hours to stay in the gym because you got multiple teams that have to utilize the gym.
Sure.
Also, you got kids who are in your practice, and you're not gonna grab their attention for 3 or 4 hours. Right. So you want to get in there, you want to be intentional, you want to get in and get out, but you want to really get the meat of what you're trying to accomplish in those hour and a half, 2 hours that you're going to be in practice. Yep. So the other thing is, most of the practices should be based around what happened in the last game.
Sure.
Good.
Yep.
What did you what did you assess from watching film
Mhm.
that made you implement this in your practice plan?
Yep.
Were you bad on your help defense?
There
That's
you go.
good.
Was your zone defense clicking on all cylinders, or do we need to work on communicating more? How
Yep.
was the energy level? And you check your energy level on the first 5 to 10 minutes when you huddle up in the middle of the basketball court. That's when you start talking about the expectations.
Yep.
That's when you start doing a recap of what happened in the last game. Now you're talking about the next game, how you want to transition and get better and improve from the game you just had to now you're talking about the next game. So now you want to talk about what you need to improve on and how you need to prepare for the next practice. And you got to incorporate that all in that 2 hours. So like Coach Trey said, you want to still want to get some play development in. You still want to focus on working on your plays. So that's tight. You still want to work on your defense. You might have your other assistant coaches. You might have them lead some drills, but you want to make sure that thing is timed and it's hitting on all cylinders. There's no time to lag and go 15 minutes over your time. You might go a minute or two over your practice plan, but you want to stick to that plan.
That's it.
Stick to that plan. You want that practice to mimic the game.
That's good.
The tempo of that practice needs to be a direct correlation of how that practice moves. I mean, that game moves when the game starts.
Absolutely.
And you don't want any talking on the sideline.
Mhm.
You want to set that tone from the jump. That practice got to be like a classroom.
That's good.
Yeah. And it's so important, Coach Bruce, what you just said that you gotta be able to play how you practice. That's why practice is really so important, man.
That's it.
When you set the right tone at practice, it's just automatic. That's how you play. Every time you step on the floor, this is just a given. So if you come in at practice going halfway, I try to tell people all the time, you just can't turn the switch on come game time. The same way you practice and play, that's how you're gonna play.
That's it.
Typically,
And a lot of times, Coach Trey, what a lot of coaches do, they jump right into practice without setting the plan and letting the kids know why we're doing what we're doing, what we're gonna do, how much time is gonna be allocated for each. So what happens is when you start the practice and you jump right into it and the kids don't know what's going on,
sure,
you lose the momentum and the tempo and the energy is sacrificed because you didn't set the tone and find out how are your players doing. They might have had a bad day.
Sure.
Yep. You know, they might feel a certain type of way about the last game. You might just want to have a conversation in that first 5-10 minutes, and that's going to be the difference between you having a good or bad practice. Nobody wants to feel like they're just an employee and you don't care about anything that's going on off the court. Sure. You got to build that rapport, and once you set that tone, and you let your players know what you expect.
Yep.
Now you got to practice. Now, if they don't meet the expectations that you already set, now you can start talking about running wind sprints and having some consequences for not performing at the level that you want. But you got to set that tone in that first 5 or 10 minutes and let your kids know what you expect.
That's good.
You know,
absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
I equate the practice plan and the agenda to just really not just game situation, but life situations.
Right.
In reference to being on time. And,
that's it.
And it forces them, Coach Trey, what you just said in reference to spilling the milk.
Yes.
It connects with the structure that you give them with their practice plan, and it shows them how important time is and how important attention to detail is when you have a plan, when you're walking in what you're trying to teach. It's real hard to teach the kids something that you're willing not to do.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have a plan, but you want them to have a plan.
Absolutely.
You want them not to spill the milk, but you spill the milk.
Yep. It's true.
That's right.
It's so true.
It's flat out. I've been connected with Coach Bruce in reference to training and building my body. I had to go back. I said, oh, it's amazing how I wanted my players to be in shape, but I wasn't.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
And imagine how they would have
Right.
to a next level, not by what I said, but how I was operating.
Sure.
Because players are watching,
Yep.
not
It's true.
listening, and more than they're watching. They're watching more than they
No
listen.
doubt about it.
Yep.
Lead by example.
Okay. So you telling them to run suicides and eat healthy, and you eating a Popeyes chicken sandwich, and getting the practice late.
Right.
That's it.
So it really it crosses all boundaries, and it forces them to do what you're telling them to do, or
Absolutely.
they're watching you more than that you're speaking of. Because my players didn't know, Coach Trey, when you taught me the practice plan, and Coach Bruce was telling me things that he was learning at the college level.
Right.
I didn't realize that the players never saw the game plan in reference to what we were giving the assistant coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell we were structured.
Right.
You could tell we had a plan. Matter of fact, I could leave.
Sure.
And they still ran it because they knew the plan.
There you go.
It was already laid out, not just on paper, but visually.
Yep. It's good. Absolutely.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. So yeah, awesome. Here's another question I love to ask people and love to find out what they think about it. Can anybody coach? Can anybody coach? Can anybody jump on that and just? I played, so can I? I want to be a coach. That's what players think. They can play. They played the game. They played in the NBA. They played overseas. I'm a coach because I played it. Can anybody coach, Coach Trey?
Well, so yeah, anybody can do whatever, but it doesn't mean. yeah.
Don't mean
but no, in all seriousness, I mean, I think that it requires a real specific skill set. I mean, it requires some qualities of an individual who is really committed to coach. Because again, as we talked last week, coaching is more than just game time. It requires study. It requires, some self evaluation.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta really evaluate who you are and what you want people to receive from you coaching them. I mean, what is it that you want them to get from what you're doing? And sometimes that requires you to be able to do some real self-evaluation and making sure that you have the basic fundamentals that you need to be a good leader of people. I mean, so
that's good.
Yeah.
Coach Bruce, can anybody coach?
I would say no. I think a coach is a special person. And it's crazy because you have a lot of guys who think because they played the game, they'll be a good coach. And that's not the case. And you also have guys who didn't play the game who think they can coach. And that's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really takes a special person. I think it takes somebody that was born to do this.
That's good.
Like Coach Trey said, you've got to be very organized. You've got to be a people's person. You've got to be well-rounded. And you have to be in it for the right reasons. You have to be in it to cultivate the lives of young men or young women.
Yep.
That has to be the main thing. The main reason why you're in this thing is to make sure that you're taking kids from one level to the next and helping to prepare them for life after basketball.
Yeah.
So you can be the greatest greatest coach on the court, but when it comes to interacting with your kids off the court, you don't even know how to formulate a conversation. Like
Right.
you can't naturally build relationships, and you could be selfish, or you could be somebody who's all you want to focus on is, winning championships, or what you have on, and how many scouts you can get in the gym. But it's really not about that.
Right.
It's about the whole totality of the game, man. It's about cultivating the lives of kids and making sure that you're preparing them for life after basketball. And if you get some championships in the process, then you're blessed.
Yep.
But that's the biggest thing is changing
Yeah.
lives is the main thing, man.
Yeah.
What's one of what's your number one attribute that you think what's your number one attribute that you have identified that you have as a coach that makes
Right.
you do what you do and do it at a high level, Coach Trey?
I really think my ability to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably one of my biggest strengths is just being able to connect with people. I have an ability to be able to just connect, and get people to really trust that I have their best interest at heart. I'm not out for any malice. I'm looking to do this just out of just my real love and care for the individual. So I think that's my main attribute, just being able to connect with people.
Gotcha. What'd you say, Coach Bruce? What's your number one attribute?
I would say mine is similar, but I think and I think the biggest reason why I'm able to connect with players is because I played the game and I know exactly what they're going through and what they have up against them as they move from one level to the next. So, for example, if a kid comes out the game and he's not happy about getting subbed out the game, instead of jumping down a kid's throat, I was there once, and I know how it feels to get subbed out when I thought I should have been still in the game. So now I can kind of tell them a short story or just identify what they're going through without jumping down their throat, and then you're still not able to be effective with that player. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing is going through that journey and knowing the ups and downs and experiencing everything you can experience in this game and being able to relate that in a way that they can receive it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing is the connection, building the rapport, and just the experience that I've had to be able to tell kids, yeah, I've been there before. I know what you're talking about. But then give them what they need to know to be successful in that certain situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think mine was I love to teach. So even if I don't even know what I want to teach per se in that particular time, or I don't know how to formulate it, I know I would make sure that the people that are on my team meet the need that I don't have. You know what I'm saying? When it was all three of us on the coaching staff, it was not just because you were my uncle, because you were my brother. I believe it was because you brought something that you did better than I did.
Right.
And I think, a lot of times coaches bring on their friends rather than people that enhance themselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Or compliment them.
Yeah. And so that's what I always look for, not just so yeah, that's my number one thing. I love to teach. So and then I love teachers in reference to people on my team. What can you teach? What do you do? What do you do best, and how can you teach it the best? If it's, with Coach Trey, you taught you basically you were the offensive coordinator when we were at Friendship Tech Prep. and that was your assignment. I remember Coach Rob's assignment for the last couple of years has been he was my defensive coordinator. And Coach Bruce, you were Coach, remember that at Friendship, even at Soldiers, uh, Coach Bruce was the head trainer,
Yes, sir.
and we had a saying that you want to practice indoors or outdoors.
Right.
Gym one, gym two.
Yeah, right.
In order to get in gym two,
Hey, gotta go to
you got to
gym
do good
one.
in gym one, and you
Outside.
can't do
Got to get through it.
in gym two. You
Absolutely.
can go back to gym one.
Yeah, hey.
They
Help you
didn't want to spend no
refocus.
more.
Yeah.
They didn't want to spend.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
so yeah, teacher and also team.
Yeah.
All my players, I know I could probably say they couldn't say this, or he showed him more favoritism than he gave him. He let him do his own thing, and everyone else had to let everybody from 1 to 12
Everybody gets held accountable.
Yep. Absolutely.
to get it.
Without a doubt.
You can get your hips on the bench as
Yep.
much as number 12 can.
Hello.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so ain't no favorites up in here.
No.
What?
Yep.
All about production.
There it is.
If you ain't productive, you'll sit right beside us.
There it is. It's called bench.
So I think all three of us, for all three of us had this characteristic. We were heavy. We're heavy. We're not were, but we are heavy on accountability.
Well, without a
Right.
doubt.
From the coaching staff all the way down to the end of the game.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
it.
That's non-negotiable.
The head coach can get it.
Yeah. Yep. Non-negotiable.
Everybody can get it.
Sure.
You were not separate.
Exempt.
No, you weren't exempt. and when you do that, that's when you got a team. That's when you got a team.
For sure.
That's what I accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability. All right, last question. Can any player play at the next level?
No.
No, sir. And again, my initial no, sir.
No, sir.
Can anybody play at the next level? Here's my levels, though. Here's my levels now.
Yeah, it depends on the level you're talking about.
Division 2, Division 3, JUCO, prep. Can anybody? Okay, go, Coach Trey.
No, they can't. I mean, we've had these conversations before where we've been able to identify player personnel that just really, God bless them. They've done good. They did everything they can. We got the most out of them, but unfortunately, they just not going to play at the next level. It's not going to do it. Now, again, it's all in perspective. What next level are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so in most cases, depending on the case, we talking high school to college is what I know we're talking about in most cases.
Right. Yeah.
And it just sometimes it ain't gonna happen. It's just all this
trouble.
So,
before I go to Coach Bruce to answer this question, both of you gonna answer the same A and B question.
Right.
And then what makes me, or what is your evaluation? What is your evaluation on me as a player? What do you use to evaluate me to know that I should be playing at Division 1 level, or I should be playing at Division 2 or 3?
I would say it's about the potential. Some people call it the upside.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell when a player has a lot more growing and a lot more improvement that they need to reach in their game. Like, you could get a guy who knows how to shoot, dribble, defense, the whole nine, but they're probably going to peak out at the end of high school. Or you might have a kid, vice versa, who's like 6'8" or 6'7", that's not very good at ball handling, is not good in a lot of different areas, but he's coachable. He's a hard worker, and you can just see his game improve every practice. That's when you know that somebody is able to go to the next level. And if they have that motor and that drive, like I say, a lot of times kids peak out early. And, you have to have that eye as a recruiter and as a scout to know, can that kid transition to the next level? A lot of times you can recruit or put your name on the line for a kid to go to the next level and then it not work out because you didn't correctly evaluate that kid.
Yeah.
So it takes experience. It takes a lot of different intangibles to know if a kid can go to the next level. It's not just talent.
Yep.
Because some talented kids can go to another program and stink up the gym because they can't listen.
Right.
I talked about attention to detail. You show them you announce what the drill is. You show them the whole nine, all 3 steps, and they get out there and they can't execute. So you thought because he was talented that he could play the next level. You thought he could go to Duke or Maryland, but that level of attention to detail, it just, like Trey said, you're a fish out of water, man. You can't transition. So it's a lot of different intangibles that you have to go to the next level. It's not just talent.
Good.
You got to be able to connect those dots.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, and that goes back to some of the things that we were talking about earlier in this session, and that is I mean, what have you demonstrated in your resume? What does your resume say your skill level,
right,
skill set is? I mean, who are you? What do you do? I mean, when you really look at all of it, it comes down to, okay, first of all, I mean, we talk about size. I mean, if you're 6'8" and you have a little ability from the offensive side, little ability from the defensive side, again, you it's harder to make a big mistake versus a small mistake. Now, if you're a guard 5'6", 5'8", and you really don't have real guard skills,
okay.
I mean, come on, man. Going to the next level, you're not going. I mean, if you don't have guard skills where you are and go to the next level and the required guard skills, and you're not a guard. Well, I mean, nothing I can do with you. You don't have any upside. Okay.
right.
But I'm saying it you got to keep all of it in perspective when you evaluate talent. There's certain things that you're looking at and you're looking for when it comes
Decision
to being
making.
a ball player. There's just certain things
Yep.
you want to be able to see a kid can do. I mean, can he put the ball in his left hand? Is he one hand dominant? I'm just saying, can he go both ways? I mean, can he get to the cup, take the bump, finish? Or can he just only shoot the ball? Or can he get to the cup and he doesn't finish in traffic or with the bump? I mean, so you look at all those kind of things because really, for real, one of the things that really separates some kids from D1 to D2, at that level is that they looking at whether or not you can get to the cup, take a bump, and still finish.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? That's one of the things. I mean, that if you can get to the cup, still take the bump and finish,
that's good.
You got to check up versus you can get to the cup, but you can't take the bump and finish. Well, I don't know.
D2.
Are you at your junior level or your senior level? I mean, okay, so then you may mean that you're not quite there yet for D1. You may be D2 because that's where you are.
The years mean something too, where you are in class, right?
Absolutely. So in terms of your classification, now if you a sophomore and that's upside. You got upside because you can still get to the cup. You may not be able to finish now as a sophomore, but as you become a junior, now you get into the cup, take the bump and finish. And now, okay, and you got another year left. Oh my dear. I mean, that's so I'm just saying.
And Trey, just to piggyback on what you're saying,
terms of where the kid is in his progression, in his skill set, what the timeline is, where he is in his career in high school, going forward, things of that nature. So, but
What were you saying,
Yeah.
Coach Bruce?
I was saying that a lot of kids don't understand that to play the next level, let's say we're talking about college and professional, a lot of kids don't understand how important character and basketball IQ is.
yeah,
You gotta have you gotta have the character to be a part of a team.
yeah,
Can you take criticism?
yeah,
Can you average 10 for a couple games, let somebody else average 15 to 20 points for the betterment of the team?
sure.
Wow.
How is your basketball IQ? How is your decision making? Do you take good shots?
It is.
Do you make the pass at the correct time?
It
Like you
is.
said, make the correct screen, roll off the screen. Basketball and character are number one and number two on the list
Yep.
for scouts when they're trying to scout players. Like it's a million players out here that can play, but what about your character and your basketball IQ? That's huge, man.
Very good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, as we wrap it up, this was our second session, I Connect Athletes, and it gets better every time we roll. Um,
Mm,
can you just close us out on just something that you would just give some wisdom, throw some wisdom to? You've been throwing some, well, all three of us have been throwing some nuggets, but just a lasting a one liner of something that you would give the athletes in this time during this pandemic. What should I be doing, or what can I do?
mm,
And not just what can I do, but it is what I do or what I don't do um, going to hurt me when the pandemic is over. So if I don't do it and I'm not doing anything during this time, what's that effect? What's that effect when the pandemic
yeah.
is over? I know I asked a couple questions in that. But what's your advice on what they need to be doing? Or
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, um, I think, well, I know one of the things that someone mentioned in last week's session is you have to be a self starter.
mm-hmm,
So during this downtime, I mean, again, you may not be able to get into the gym and work on taking shots, things of that nature, but there are other things that you can do at the house
mm-hmm,
from a standpoint of just, trying to make sure you can stay um, active and keep your cardiovascular up, your strength up, those kind of things from a physical
Yep.
perspective and what have you. I mean, even from the standpoint of just ball handling and things of that nature, I mean, there are things you can do. So it really, really boils down to the individual person. What is it that they want out of developing and improving their overall game? And so I would just say that, you want to take advantage and put some time in. I mean, it may not be where you doing something every single day, but, at least 3 times, 4 times a week, you ought to be doing something, whether it's skill set or strength and conditioning in some form of fashion or cardiovascular or something. But not doing anything, I don't think is productive because it just takes you much longer to get back into the kind of shape you need to be in when the time does come.
that's good. What you got, Coach Bruce?
I think it's two things for me. The biggest thing that you do want to do is that you do want to make sure that you're in the best shape of your life when it comes to conditioning. Because right now you can run, you can sprint, you can do push-ups, you can focus on your core. Now, of course, most kids don't have a whole weight set in the house, so you're not going to be as bulky as you want to be, and you might not be as developed as you want to be. But as far as like being chiseled and ready to rock and roll when it comes back up, when the pandemic is over, then I think that your conditioning has got to be on point. Now, you're not going to be in game. Nobody's going to be in game shape.
Right.
And when I say game shape, basketball shape when you're up and down playing basketball. There's nothing like basketball shape. So
Right.
you don't have to worry about nobody's going to be in that kind of shape. But as far as conditioning, you shouldn't be the last one in your sprints after this pandemic. You should be in the best shape of your life. The other thing is, the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to be one of those guys that all you did was work on ball handling or all you did was work on your form. Work on all of those different things. Because when you come back, the rules are still going to apply. Nobody wants to see somebody dribble 1,000 times before you take your shot. So you want to make sure your ball handling is on point, but don't just focus on ball handling. Make sure that you work on your triple threat. Make sure you work on your form. You can work on your form all day long, your follow through, the whole nine. But make sure you're working all these different things. Make sure you're in shape. Make sure your strength and conditioning is on point. Make sure you're not just focusing on ball handling, but make sure you're focusing on your form, your ball handling, and also this is another thing that guys are not going to focus on. Watch film.
That's good.
Watch the game. Don't just watch the highlights. Go to YouTube, watch some NBA games or some college games and see what they do. Watch how they move without the ball. Watch what they do when they sub out of the game. Watch how they listen to their coach.
Yeah.
Look at the sets that are being ran.
Yeah.
Be a student of the game. This is the best time to be watching basketball all day long. So when you get back, you're able to regurgitate the terminology that they use during these games, pick and pop and pivots and all that different type of things. You want to make sure you know that terminology. That's the biggest thing when it comes to watching film.
That's good. And that equates to because we have different coaches and players that play different sports. And so what Coach Bruce talking about, he's talking about it don't matter what sport you play, um, in reference to football, basketball, film
Right.
is just unbelievable, and it's really cute. It increases that IQ.
Yes.
Increases that IQ. Um, so very good. I appreciate y'all, Coach Trey, Coach Bruce.
Yep.
Another second session of I Connect Athletes.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back next week and to take it to another level. So we appreciate everyone listening in on this broadcast. And so we appreciate. We're just going to pray it out. I'll lead us in prayer today. Let's bow our heads for word prayer. Dear God, we thank you for waking us up, and dear God, for health and strength. We do not take it for granted that you have blessed us with what you need for us to get done in your kingdom, dear God. We just thank you that you will utilize and our gifts, and that you will increase our IQ and our knowledge and uh, and our wisdom of not just the game that we play or coach, but that we utilize the opportunity and the platform to expose you. And so we just thank you for this time that we have together. We hope, God, that what we shared bless the lives of who have been listening or watching. So we just thank you. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Y'all.
Amen.
That's good stuff.
Y'all have a good one now.